Hey kids, and welcome to the show. Today I'm going to be talking about milk. And no, I don't put milk in my coffee. Just honey. And if you'd like to buy some coffee, down in our description we have all kinds of links to help us out, help the channel grow. But one of those is a link to Scars and Stripes Coffee. That is a veteran owned and operated business, and if you buy coffee from that link, you support our channel. So thanks Scars and Stripes Coffee, and hashtag United We Brew. So, we're talking about milk today. And coffee. Milk is something that so many people love to put in their coffee. Cream, milk, condensed milk, all that stuff. Milk is an important thing in our life. There are stories in the Bible where it talks about the promised land being a land flowing with milk and honey. And, I've got bees on my cloth. See if you can get that. Yeah, be kind. Why am I talking about milk today? Well, see, it turns out milk is one of the number one food allergies in the United States, and that's cow's milk. We are not really designed to drink milk. We aren't. We're humans. How many times have you seen a human walk up to a cow, lay on the ground, grab an udder, and drink milk? It doesn't happen, because that milk is supposed to be for baby cows, whereas a woman's breast milk is supposed to be for baby humans. It's a little weird to drink the milk of other animals, but we do it every day. And we enjoy it. We eat things like ice cream, and it's in butter, it's in cheese, it's in a bunch of things, and we use milk. And our family, we use beef. We actually sell beef, and we like beef, and that comes from a cow. There are cultures like in India, where people treat cows with so much reverence and respect. And yes, in some cultures they are considered a deity, and then in other cultures they are considered the most delicious animal ever. You know, in Japan you hear about the koji beef, and they're massaging these cows their entire life. These cows are like, oh man, this feels good. I'm getting a massage. And then one day, because they want to make the cow feel good. Isn't that funny? Because if the cow feels good, when the cow dies, it tastes better. People say they can taste fear in meat. People say if you don't kill a deer directly, that the meat just doesn't taste quite right, because you can taste the fear. Well, a few months ago, I had, actually, almost a year ago now, our daughter was born, and we opened up a diaper, and in that diaper, there was blood. 5 kids, first time anything like that's ever happened. And it scared the bejesus out of us, and we immediately took her to the hospital, and that was the stay. And it turned out it was simple. She has a cow's milk allergy, so she can't drink cow's milk. And I was like, okay, well, how do we deal with that? Soy, no, because soy isn't really good for kids. It's an alternative, but in her situation, the alternative was this very expensive formula. And it is. She is still on this formula. So a few months back, because of who I am and how I analyze the news and I watch the economy, I saw this recall happen, and I got the message that there was a recall because I couldn't find anything on the shelves. So I started doing research, and I saw this recall happening, and I saw that we were going to have a shortage on her formula. So last month, I reached out. I threw my nets out to my tribe and said, hey, we can't find this stuff. We need to find this formula immediately. And I asked them to search every Walgreens and every CVS and every Walmart for one of 2 different formulas that my daughter could drink. Well, we are so blessed that she is actually a little older, and she will eat a chicken if you give it to her. She's a healthy, beautiful young woman, and or little baby, and she can eat. And we are lucky because with her other health issues, she has a surgery coming up in a few years. Hopefully it's in a few years, but we need to make sure that she's big and she's growing strong. So how does this pertain to milk? Well, when the formula shortage happened last month, I said, what happens if my daughter doesn't have a bottle to go to bed with? Just as simple as that, because, she has her bottle before bed. And what if my daughter doesn't have the formula she needs? What do I do then? Well, my chef brain went to action, and it's one of my favorite places to be, and that's in the kitchen and cooking. I said yesterday, one of my favorite things to do today, I'm telling you another. And that's being in the kitchen. I love being in the kitchen. I love bees. I love being in the kitchen. And so I looked on the internet for ice cream. I said, my daughter's never going to be able to eat ice cream. And I need to find an amazing recipe for ice cream. I need to start tasting them. Because it's not enough that it's a substitute. It has to be better. It has to be something that is better. That's it. I can't just give my daughter sherbet and say, here, it's dairy free. I want her to have the experience of tasting vanilla. That's it. And yeah, I know you can get vanilla sherbet, but it's nasty. Anyway, so I went out and started searching for alternative ice creams. And most of these ice creams are not available near me, so I couldn't even go to the store to try one. But I saw this ice cream company, and they're a small company. They're not available where we're at. I'll shout them out. I don't know how they taste or anything, but it's important to the story, so I will. They're called Oatly, and they make ice cream out of rolled oats. And so I started to research, because that's who I am, because when I need to research something, I research it. And so I found a milk alternative that was basically a quarter cup of rolled oats, toasted rolled oats, some little bottled water, and a teaspoon of maple syrup. Real maple syrup, not that high fructose corn syrup stuff. That's it. Put that in a blender, you grind it up, you strain it out, and you have a milk substitute. First time I tasted it, I was like, ugh. Second, third, fourth. I tasted a lot of nasty oat milk, and what I just gave you was the recipe I landed on. Because this month, we ran out of formula. There was none on the shelves. There was none coming. I saw it coming, and I said, I'm going to act. I'm going to learn how to make something I've never made before. Because I want my daughter to be able to have the experiences, the good experiences, that I had with ice cream. So, there was no formula. And my daughter was crying. She was eating. We were giving her water. She didn't like the water. Gave her some juice. She kind of likes juice, but didn't like the juice. She needed something a little thicker. She was in my wife's arms. I handed my wife the bottle. My daughter looked at the bottle, grabbed for it because it looked just like formula, put it in her mouth and took it out. Looked at my wife and looked at me, smiled real big and put it back in her mouth. These are tears of joy because I made my daughter milk that she could drink. And for 2 days, that was her milk. And all of a sudden, the formula came. We were not panicking. We just acted. Because in that moment, nothing mattered. We could complain. I could go on Twitter. I could say, Neo Kate, why don't you have this stuff ready yet? And it would do no good because That company is getting formula out as fast as they can. So we had to act within our own lives and not rely on a company that could be hit by a tornado tomorrow. And now we know that our daughter's going to be okay without that formula, and she's almost old enough to be off of it. And that's the last point I want to make. There are babies that can only drink this formula. They're not old enough to eat any other foods. The companies were prioritizing those babies. And so the hospital gets that food first. And that's okay. I want you guys to know that when something isn't there and isn't available, sometimes you have to make it. So, Rachel and I decided to make it. Because that feeling I had when I gave my daughter that bottle and she loved it and asked for seconds, that's the feeling I got every time someone smiled after they ate my food on the food truck. Thousands and thousands and thousands of faces and eyes and smiles. I enjoyed that. And people have been asking me to get back into the restaurant industry. And as it turns out, things may be aligning. It's ours to go back into that business if we want. I mean, we can make the decision today and say yes. Or we can be faithful and discern. But what we have decided is I do want to be back in the kitchen, but I don't want to be a restaurateur anymore. So we're going to create a nonprofit. A nonprofit disguised as a restaurant that is a learning lab for our community. That is a safe place for kids that are abused to go to. Because one of the coolest things about this property and us wanting to make sure that kids are safe is it's right across the street from the police station. It will make a beautiful place to do custody exchanges. Because those can be traumatic, not only on the children, but that can be traumatic on mom and dad too. If this works out, my wife and I decided we can't do this as a restaurant. It's got to be a nonprofit. So now we're dreaming. And I ask for your prayers. Because Chef Willie is really thinking about going back into the kitchen. Because what I was able to do for my daughter, I know there's a million kids out there that could do that one day for theirs. And they need somebody to tell them, yes, you can. It's possible. You are amazing. I am amazing. My daughter, she likes my recipes. And it's really cool that she takes she will eat my red beans and rice over anything else that we give her. Because when I cook with love. And it just can't be about money. It can never be about money. It needs to be about you. Until next time, work hard, be kind, and have fun.